Konnichiwa, my name is Kaori Nagao, your Las Vegas lifestyle specialist. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've asked, Kaori, is there going to be a housing crash? And my short answer is no. And this is my take on why we will not experience what we did back in 2008. Looking at the last 6 recessions, we've only experienced a decrease in home price for just 2 of them. Everyone talks about that 2008 recession because it's still fresh in our minds. But historically speaking, recession doesn't equal housing crisis. And I repeat, recession doesn't equal housing crisis. You've also asked, Kaori, how are the increasing interest rates affecting housing prices? In Las Vegas, what I have been experiencing as I have multiple listings is that the days on the markets for these homes are much longer than what it used to be. So a home that would maybe have an average of 20 days on the market, we're now experiencing about 40 to 50 days on the market. And what does that mean? So as a listing agent, I need to manage my seller's expectation and let them know that there is a shift happening in the marketplace. Yes, the climbing interest rates is cooling the demand of those purchasing homes. But that doesn't mean that there is a slowdown in the housing market. And that's how the media is taking it, but that's not what it actually means. What it means is that there is a less demand in the urgency to purchase a home like we had in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. Everyone had a different need of homes for their different lifestyles. People were working from home. Kids were doing distant learning. You needed more space. People were able to work from a place that was not close to their office. So people were looking into relocating to states like Nevada where we don't have state income tax. So those were the kind of things that we were experiencing in the last 2 years. But for the last couple of months, what we're experiencing is a shift in the market because of the climbing interest rates. And what I tell my sellers and my listing agents is that basically we need to manage our sellers' expectations and let them know what we're experiencing so that they have a better expectation on when their home will be able to sell. So what I'd like you to take away from this video is that I am not foreseeing any housing market crisis like we experienced in 2008. Looking historically, we only had 2 price reductions in the last 6 recessions. At the same time, things are going to be a little bit different because we were so used to this very fast-paced multi-offer situation. What I want all of my sellers to understand is that instead of maybe having 15 multiple offer situation, maybe you'll have 2 or 3. Or maybe it'll take more time on the days of the market for your listing to have an offer. And that's what I am experiencing currently with my listing agents. On the buyer side, the recommendation that I have for my buyers, because we are seeing and forecasting a higher interest rate climb in the next few months, is that if you could qualify now, you don't want to wait, you want to buy and act now. And actually, as a buyer, right now is actually a really good space because the sellers who have been used to having multiple offers are not seeing that. So there is a lot of room to negotiate. There are room to negotiate on different contingencies. You don't have to do a 7-day due diligence period anymore. You could go back to the regular 10 or 14 day. You don't have to waive inspection. And I never recommend that to my buyers, but I know some people, in order to get their offer accepted, have to be creative with their offer. Another thing that you may want to also reconsider is differences in the appraisal gap. In the last year or so when I was representing a buyer, we did have to put in appraisal gaps. And what that means is basically the buyer is willing to put up the additional cash in the event that the appraisal comes shorter than the purchase price. So just to give you an example, if a home was listed for $500,000 and you go into contract at $500,000, but the lender orders the appraisal and it comes in at $490,000, there's a $10,000 gap. And in order to make that deal work, the buyer had to come out out of pocket with that $10,000 gap in cash. Now you don't have to do all those anymore because there is much more room to negotiate coming from the buyer perspective. So again, I hope I've answered your question. I know a lot of people are worried. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty, but what I could tell you is that I do not foresee a market crash coming. What I do tell my listing agents and my sellers is that we need to manage our sellers' expectations because you will see more days on the market. And again, you guys, it only takes one buyer to purchase the house. So you don't need a multiple offer situation. And I think that's what we are experiencing as the market normalizes, because we have been in the seller's market for such a long time. Again, thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time tuning in, this is Kaori Nagao, your Las Vegas lifestyle specialist. And again, I'll see you on the next one.